digging holes and hiding things inside them. When I grow old, I hope I won't forget to find them. 'Cause I've got memories and travel like gypsies in the night. I build a home and wait for someone to tear it down. Then pack it up in boxes, head for the next town running. 'Cause I've got memories and travel like gypsies in the night. And 1,000 times I've seen this road, 1,000 times. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. I like standing still, but that's just a wishful plan. Ask me where I come from, I'll say a different land. But I've got memories and travel like gypsies in the night. I count gates and numbers and play the guessing game. It's just the place that changes, the rest is still the same. But I've got memories and travel like gypsies in the night. And 1,000 times I've seen this road, 1,000 times. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. I like digging holes, hiding things inside them. When I grow old, I won't forget to find them. I like digging holes, hiding things inside them. When I grow old, I won't forget to find them. I've got no roots. No roots. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots, but my home was never on the ground. I've got no roots. I've got no roots. No roots.
All right, folks, how we doing tonight? How are we all doing? Back on the regular channel. I know some of you might have missed it. I had to do a stream on the backup channel, which I think I already deleted. Can't keep evidence of the black market going, you know. Let's see. Chat says we no longer have to get our black market fixed. Somebody else in the chat just screams with all caps, "I hate the Antichrist." Okay. Thank you for sharing. Not really sure what that has to do with anything, but I'm glad you feel that way. Alrighty. So, what are we gonna watch? We're gonna watch some goofy shit. We're gonna read some goofy shit. But first, I'd like to have a word from our sponsor, the NFL. They're not actually sponsoring me. For some litigious Jew is knocking on my door. No, they're not actually sponsoring me, but we have an important message from the NFL. I agree. I'm not sure about that one. I don't know how that one works. No, not so much. Okay, that one. Yeah, all right. I'm agreeing with that one. Football is gay. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. Football is gay. Football is queer. Football is queer. A message from the NFL. Football is queer. I mean, I've been saying that for decades. Bunch of dudes bending over in front of each other. It just never sat right with me. Oh, football is gay. Oh, that's me laughing in hockey fan. You damn right it is. Whew. You know, I really, in the last couple of years, I've tried to back off of shitting on the sports ball fans. I really have. Because I can enjoy watching some sports. I could sit down and watch a basketball game. I could sit down and watch a hockey game. I don't really follow either. I'm more of a fan of hockey, but I don't really follow either because just I just don't. Whatever. But I'd be more than happy to watch a game, especially with buddies of either one. And I love hockey video games. I got NHL hockey, NHL PA 93, NHL 94 through 98 on my Genesis. I love me some hockey games, at least the old ones. But sports ball fans are pretty fucking gay. They always have been. And I really, like I said, I backed off of that for a while because I just, you know what it was? Dealing with Davis, it was really fucking lame how he really scored points with, well, Bedglov reads comic books. Bedglov likes Nintendo. And like Bedglov has fun in ways I don't understand, and they're therefore gay. You know, again, his buddies that literally worship Thor want to bitch at me for reading comics about Thor, but whatever. So I kind of backed off. I kind of, stepped back, had a little self awareness about it. Be like, you know what? It's pretty fucking lame to shit on someone because they're having fun in a way you don't like. It really is. That said, though, the sports ball guys are pretty fucking insufferable. When you get right to it, they really fucking are. All right? And you know what? There's something kind of inherently cucky about it. There really is. All right? You're walking around with like a jersey with some other man's fucking name on it. I don't know, man. I kind of feel like there's some symbolism about having another man's name on your back. All right? And boy, are they defensive about it. Like, look, I can certainly admit a lot of nerd culture is fucking cringe and it's fucking outright unhealthy. But you'll never get that out of the sports ball guys. Look at Fox Day. Fox Day to this day will not, he'll tell you that you're morally wrong if you go see a Hollywood movie because Hollywood hates you. But it's okay for him to watch the NFL. Okay, Vox, I mean, it's gay, but all right. Uh, so I just wanted to share a little of that commercial with us all because I think it's important that we all know that football is fucking gay. So he said the volume sounded louder on the Landstar stream. I don't know what you want me to do about it. All right, I have no idea why that is, and I don't care. When I get right down to it, I don't care. I mean, I do get tired of everyone bitching about it, but it is what it is. we have some Roosh articles we're gonna read, guys. You all want to learn how to become a trad patriarch? I know I do. I know I really, really want to learn how to become a trad patriarch. All right. This one is very recent. This is from just yesterday. We have an article. I'm going to get into Windows Capture here. We want to capture the full brilliance of this man. This is from RooshV.com. 14 things I learned as about 14 things I learned as a construction worker in Alabama. Last fall, I stayed in Alabama for 1 month to work in home construction. During that month, I gained more construction experience than my previous 41 years of life, which consisted mostly of assembling IKEA furniture and nailing things to the wall. This blue-collar job was given to me at a stage of my life where I desire to own a home. So I took the work seriously and contemplated on the experience after it was over. Here are 14 things I learned. This is going to be groundbreaking stuff, guys. Are you ready to have your fucking life changed? Nothing fits the first time around. You could sum up construction as forcing things to fit that don't want to fit together. You could take your time, be methodical, and measure diligently with your tape, but when it comes time to lay down a counter or build stairs for a deck, the pieces won't fit. Then you have to figure out how to make the things fit, either by cutting some more, using a wood shim, or pounding it into place with your fists of rage. As a perfectionist, I dislike how construction work is more an art than a science. In fact, my writing is more of a science because I am able to methodically examine the purpose of every word in every article or book before releasing it to an audience knowing it is perfect based on that. Boy, we really just hit on why your writing has no soul, didn't we, Roosh? That you think you can scientifically, methodically play. This man is so autistic. But the construction standard is often that's good enough before moving on to the next task that will also be impossible to get perfect. It's okay to mess up. Mistakes happen all the time. Whenever you hear an outburst of profanity, then one of your coworkers just made an error. You hear profanity all day long. It's like fucking Lieutenant Commander Data. Construction is not a baking recipe where if you add the wrong amount of ingredients, your bread won't rise properly. In fact, a good chunk of workday is correcting your mistakes or correcting the mistakes of the contractor who tried to do the work before you. The biggest hurdle I had in my own construction work was the fear that I would mess up. Now I see that as a big laugh. I often wonder if Roosh has ever laughed in his life. Even the experts mess up, so the perfectionism in me officially died in Alabama. I think a lot of you is dead inside, Roosh. There is no one right way to complete a job. There's no field manual to complete a job. You attack a task based on your experience and the tools you have on hand. The more experience and better tools you have, the more likely you will complete the job quickly with the fewest mistakes. When you're learning on the job like I was, you observe a variety of techniques and then pick up the most efficient ones to incorporate to your skill set. Funnily enough, the one time there was a field manual on the job to build our outdoor gazebo from a kit, the foreman didn't like the instructions and modified it based on his experience, which ended up saving time. Even a detailed instruction manual is just one way of getting things done. Blue-collar men are not college educated. I don't remember meeting any college educated men on the sites I worked at. When I got hired, the second in command looked at the boss and exclaimed, "We're hiring former scientists now." What the workers lacked in book knowledge, they made up for in practical experience. What a condescending asshole. I noticed that blue collar men possess information and content I noticed the blue collar men process information and content differently than my college educated peers. The attention span of the former are not trained to read dense books or listen to long podcasts packed with information. They prefer shorter snippets and sound bites to get the essential truth of the matter, which I imagine is why politicians and corporations create memorable slogans. Blue collar work also doesn't waste time participating in blue collar workers, I'm sorry, also don't waste time participating in political activism or getting to the bottom of intricate cultural issues. They don't have a vague mission to spread the truth or improve society. They care about getting through the day and getting paid on Friday. They hate communism, love guns, smoke cigarettes, chew tobacco, engage in more direct communication without a labored sensitivity for other people's feelings, or more masculine, less politically correct, like making fun of gays and cursing in every other uttered sentence, if not every sentence. Wow, Rouge, it sounds like you were around men for the first fucking time in your life. Good God. Oh, working outside is harder than working inside. Ah, these are big, bold takes, guys. When you're working outside, you're more likely to be digging holes, carrying very heavy things, serving as a blood meal for bugs, or on the verge of passing out from baking in the sun. By comparison, the hardest part of indoor work is bending down repeatedly. Digging holes in the summer heat is really the worst. This remember a couple years ago when he was first starting to get into this stupid like trad shit. He talked about how he used a wheelbarrow for the first time in his life, like ever. He was like 40. Workers break every safety rule in the book. Before using a new tool, I like to educate myself with safety videos on YouTube so I don't injure myself. The men I worked with never followed these rules and actually invented new ways of using tools that were rather dangerous. Okay, so no lie. A little temp job I had very recently. In fact, it came to an end just yesterday. It was my last day, but was there for a little bit, and motherfucker in the warehouse was was climbed up onto a fucking pallet, up some pallet of shit, some fucking bunch of boxes on a fucking pallet that he had hoisted up on a forklift and was on top of that fucking shit to fucking change a light. Oh man, nobody gives a fuck. It's amazing. Now, see, I will actually be a bit of a stickler for the rules. Not an asshole about it, but I'm not. Here's the way I see it. I'm not going to put my neck out and end up hurting myself, and then the company wants to stick me with the medical bills because I played out, I colored outside the lines a little bit. So like, if it means shit don't get done, I'm just gonna back. I'm not. No company's paying me enough to fucking stick my neck out for them. Is the way I see it. But at the same time, I do admire the guys who are like, fucking shit needs done. I'm gonna do it. Do what I need to do to get it done. Ah, let's see. One example is standing cut where a man takes a piece of wood, braces it against his bent leg, and uses circular saw to cut it. Yeah, that happens. When it comes to eye protection, the most common form was squint goggles, which, as you may surprise, is the act of squinting while sawdust is flying at your face. That's fucking stupid. I know a lot of guys that do. I don't mess around without eye protection. I fucking goggles, man. True story. At least I should caveat this. I didn't personally see this, but this is a story that both my father and my grandfather have told to me. So one time when my dad was a teenager, he was using in the garage using my grandfather's like sander or grinder to just grind down some piece of metal. And my grandfather walked up to him and was like, "Could you turn that off for a minute?" turned it off. And I mean, just a moment of silence as the grinder, you know, just kind of slowed to a complete stop. And then my grandfather literally kicked my dad like dead in the ass. Like again, according to them, like basically, you know, the kind that like a fucking cartoon, like lifts you up off the fucking ground for a minute. And my dad's like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Goggles," because my dad wasn't wearing goggles, and just walked away. Let's see. The worst injury I saw on the site was a man who dropped a heavy piece of metal on his foot. He wailed in pain for some time, almost to the point of tears. When I suggested he get emergency treatment, the foreman looked at me and said, "Roosh, I know you're trying to be helpful, but he'll be fine." Sure enough, he resumed work a few minutes later. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, the one thing I'll always do if I get hurt on the job, even if something minor, I always tell the boss. I'm like, "Look, man, I fucking pulled a muscle or you smashed my finger or something like that, whatever it is. You know, something minor that you'll be fine." But I always make sure I fucking tell the boss if he didn't see it. Now, I know it sounds counterintuitive. Like, oh, you're just going to get yourself in trouble. Maybe. But my line of thinking is if I wake up the next fucking day and it's just way fucking worse, I want to be able to say I got hurt on the job. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be, oh, that happened after you went home. You didn't say nothing. Again, I'm a stickler in the rules to the sense of I don't want them to fuck me. That's the extent I'm a stickler for the rules. Myself, but I know a lot of other people. Not so much. Uh, let's see. Construction is a matter of time as much as skill. Most construction jobs can be done by any man processing IQ of 95. Uh, yeah, construction isn't rocket science, but we're going to skip through it. Some of these are better than others. Building is more fun than finishing. Okay, whatever. Your body is either built for manual labor or it's not. Everybody's body is built for manual labor. My physical energy decreased every week while on the job with no hope of recovery. The 100 plus equivalent squats I was doing each day caused my legs to feel numb at night. Look, I've done some really physical work. It'll fucking drain you. I was so tired that I didn't even have the energy to read. I figured that for every 4 weeks I worked, I would need at least 2 weeks off. In all fairness, though, a lot of construction workers they work in spurts. Like I know a lot of guys that like a lot of construction workers sort of come and go. Like they take on jobs, you know, and they're there for a while, and then you know, uh, I know a lot of construction companies are like that. You're kind of gone for a little while, and then you pop back into it. Compare that to men who've been in this line of work for decades. See, the problem, Roosh, is like, look, it would be a lot different if right out of high school, Roosh, you hopped into fucking construction. You've been doing it since. Your body would be used to it. But you're a man who is in his fifth decade of life now, who has never done a fucking, up until very, very recently, never done a day's work in your fucking life. So, yes, in your fucking 40s, you don't recover as much. It's not a question of some people are made for it and some aren't. You're just a middle-aged man is the problem. And yeah, you're not going to keep up with the fucking 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are at the fucking job site. Or just become Ben Shapiro at Home Depot, yes. Compare that to other men who've been in this line of work for decades. There was one man in his 50s who had never seen a gym in his life. Of course he didn't. If you fucking work construction, why the hell would he need to? He drank heavily, smoked, and ate fast food every meal, yet he could run laps around me. Again, of course. I got news for you. You could be skinny and in shape and eat nothing but garbage. You just have to do a whole hell of a lot more fucking work. A weekend of hard partying actually had the effect of increasing his energy. Many men did not look physically impressive, were able to maintain consistent output while I faltered because of my fragile constitution. If I had bills to pay, I no doubt could work construction indefinitely, but it would come at the cost of other areas of my life, including my intellectual work. Yeah, I forgot, Roosh. You're out there. You're out there fucking solving the mysteries of the universe. This motherfucker who just recently learned how to wheelbarrow works is just gonna unravel the fucking mysteries of the human condition. Some of this is just kind of basic bitch shit. Uh, Here's a good one. The favorite music of your coworkers can drive you crazy. A few of my coworkers needed to listen to music while working, either rock, country, or hip hop. Rock was tolerable, especially if it was the oldie station. Country music was intolerable. Well, I agree with you on that. Because all of the songs were about a guy who couldn't imagine living without this one amazing woman in his life. Yeah, heaven forbid people be in love, Roosh. I know that's a concept you do not and cannot understand. I know that years of reducing the the act of love and even lust into these weird autistic formulas and years of raping drunk bar skanks have burned whatever piece of your brain and your soul were once responsible for pair bonding. So I understand you do not get the concept of love. But sometimes, Rich, a man and a woman love each other very, very much and really could just not imagine being without each other. I've seen that in my life. I've seen real love. Again, I'll bring up my grandfather. My grandfather basically just willed himself to die after my grandmother died. It was, grandma's dead. He's like, well, guess I'm just kind of done. I mean, he was into his 90s. I mean, he lived a good long life, but he was kind of just like, well, that's all I need out of this world anymore. So he said, I thought you hated boomer music about being simping on one itis. No, no, no. Boomer music, first of all, I don't even hate boomer music. I hate boomers' obsession with their fucking music. That's the real thing I've always harped on. Like, I hate that boomers mistake nostalgia for objective quality. Like, I honestly, that drives me fucking nuts. Like, again, myself, I will always be nostalgic for music from about 97 to 2002. If I had to make it a 10-year thing, like 95 to 05. Am I saying that is objectively the height of fucking music in the human species? Absolutely not. That's just when I was a teenager and a young man, and was having some fucking fun. When a song is on the first time you getting your dick sucked to it, it tends to endear itself to you. That said, though, there's a lot of boomer music that's pretty fucking cucky and simpy, like by any fucking stretch of the imagination. I will grant that, but I don't hate boomer music in general. I don't. I actually like a lot of it. I mean, I was, raised by boomers, so they had the oldie station on quite a bit. In some ways, some of it is the music of my childhood as well. So I don't hate music from the 60s and 70s, not by a long shot, or even the 50s. But yeah, stuff like Frankie Valley and all, it does come a point where it's like you need to grow a sack there, buddy. Let's see. Maybe old country music displayed genuine masculinity. Again, you know what? The guy who never picked up a fucking hammer before his fifth fucking decade of life does not need to lecture the rest of us on genuine masculinity. You literally never worked a day in your life until you were in your 40s, Rouge. Don't lecture the rest of us on masculinity. I know that was a grift you used to do because you were good at raping fucking drunk bar skanks, or at least pretending like you were. And autistic people bought it. But I'm not buying it, okay, Roosh? I'm not buying that this man is going to lecture us all on the essential nature of masculinity. I'm sorry. It's no. Not gonna fucking happen. Oh, Bedglov, are you an alpha Chad? No, I'm not an alpha Chad. I'll put myself up against Roosh any fucking day of the week. Fat dork that I am. You know, I've certainly worked more. I've certainly probably had more life experience than Roosh. Roosh has traveled a lot and banged a lot of drunk skanks, or at least he claims. You know what? I will put this caveat here. I guarantee you, I've had more sober pussy than Roosh. I guarantee it. That more women with their full fucking mental faculties about them willingly chose to have sex with me than has happened to Roosh. I will I will I will bet any sum of money on that. So he says, "What's the difference between love songs and cuck songs?" I don't know, man. Like, how that look? That's a pretty fucking complicated thing. All right. Let me put it this way: when you got like a boomer song about like, not even a boomer song. You know what? I'll go more contemporary song. There's a song I can't remember the name of it. But this guy is like on a subway. It's a recent song. I say recent. I'm getting old. The 2000s at the latest, where this guy it's like I think it's called like You're Beautiful or something, but he's like on a subway and he's looking at this chick and he's just imagining like this life he's gonna have with her, and it comes across as like this creepy thing where he's gonna kill her and wear her skin or some shit, and then like she just leaves and she's gone and that's the end of it. Like when you're just projecting all of this onto a chick that's just you know not at all into you, never was into you. You know, she's off banging Tyrone and shit. Again, you know what? No, we're not even gonna get into that. That's a whole different fucking thing. Okay, it's I know it when I see it. Okay, let's put it that way. We're gonna. You're Beautiful by James Blunt. Thank you, chat. That song is fucking creepy. That song is fucking creepy. I was gonna start and try and like sing it, and then I was afraid it would be in my head, and I stopped myself before that happened. Okay. Let's see. Hip hop music was the worst. I wanted to take the power drills lying around and apply them to my brain to stop the pain from the incredibly stupid and disgusting lyrics. Well, you know what? That sounds like you're racist, Roosh. I don't know, man. I happen to think hip hop and rap were one of the last bastions of masculinity in popular music. But during the hours of hip hop, I relied on prayer to distract me from the assault on my ears. I preferred working in silence, especially if we were outdoors so I could hear the birds. They were my preferred music. God, I bet everyone at the job site is so happy you're gone. I guarantee you. Like, making fun of you is where the Mexicans and the blacks and the rednecks on the job site all fucking bonded. Was making fun of that weird autistic 40-year-old that worked with us for a month. They're probably still laughing at you, Rich, by the way. Like, you ever make fun of this is a Dave Attell quote, but it's so pertinent. You ever make fun of somebody so much you feel like you should thank them for all the good times you've had? That is literally I guarantee you. Probably today, if they were all working, they were like, remember that fucking Spurg? Somebody says construction is not worth doing financially unless you develop a specialty or trade. I don't know about that, man. Construction work pretty fucking. Construction work pays pretty good. Conclusion: I can admit that I had a romanticized view of manual labor. It has been easy for me to advise other men to pursue a trade while I sit at a desk all day, but now I see the intense bodily involvement. I can't advise it for men who don't have a sturdy physical constitution. If you're a dainty cosmopolitan like me, you will wear out your body before retirement and have to pursue other line of work. Oh, Customer says, "Hey, Bedglov, how do you feel about the Cure?" They're all right, I guess. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to change the radio station when they come on. Let me put it that way. It's not like whatever. It's fine. It's also not necessarily something I'd ever like. Oh yeah, let's listen to the Cure. Let me pop in this fucking Cure CD. Like that's not necessarily going to happen either. Checking out on the chat here. Let's see. I'm scrolling through the chat a little bit, checking it out. Do I want to watch funny videos? Well, we're always up for some funny videos, if you have an idea. You think they gave one of those hard hats kids play with? Wow, what an expose, exactly. Guys in high school should take shop class. I agree. Man. So he says, bet the guys thought Roosh was in this recovery after decades of blasting his brains with drugs. Being a 41-year-old with autism, how could they tell the difference? Like I said though, I bet they're still laughing about him. All right, this one's pretty short, but I think this one will give us a laugh. I think this one will be good for a laugh. Modern life is a managed terror. This is from the 21st of June. Modern man lives like a hospital patient. He endures while connected to various tubes and machines that pump him with air, medicine, and nutritional syrup. But as soon as the medical intervention is removed, his real state of pain and illness is revealed, assuming he is able to survive. The illnesses of today are alleviated with treatment of manufactured pleasures, distractions, and status schemes that dull the longing for God just long enough to hide the fact that the sick individual is spiritually dead. The anxiety of today's man is so intense that his days must be enveloped by worldly distractions and games to give him enough meaning to proceed for another 24 hours. He wakes up unrested to reach immediately for the dopamine glow of the smartphone. He begins work for a company that has monetized for profit one of several human vices, and puts on the actor's mask of pretending to like his job and his transsexual coworkers with neon purple hair. Again, I think a lot of this is just you, Roosh. I think a lot of this is just like I've never had to work with a trainee, by the way. At least as far as I know. Let me put it this way. If I ever had to work with a trainee, it was somebody that had their shit together and had transitioned long enough that I couldn't even tell. And those are pretty fucking rare. I never had to work with a fucking trainee, certainly not one with purple hair, okay? Because I do real work, right? He burns out his adrenal glands with several cups of coffee to push through the mindless work task because he needs the money to sustain a lifestyle above his means that is necessary to distract him from a spiritual reality whose truth he refuses to accept. The smartphone is caressed dozens of times a day in hopes a dating match will save him, or that a sexy nude picture from a new lover arrives to shove his mind into the gutter of lust. Roosh's writing is at times kind of painful to read. Like, he tries to be, like, fanciful and poetic, but he is one of the most soulless beings to actually be alive. Like, it theologically baffles me what actually animates the meat suit that is Roosh, because there is nothing there. There's some about coffee in here I wanted to get to. If I can find it. I thought it was in here. Maybe it's not. He had something about coffee as a Jewish plot or something. Maybe it's not in this one. Somebody had showed me he had an article where he was talking about coffee as a Jewish plot. All right, I guess it's not in that one. I thought it was in that one. But yeah, he was going on about coffee as a fucking Jewish plot. Like caffeine is this hard. Like, imagine being so into the drug war you want to ban caffeine. Ah, lordy. Ah, God. Rush's stuff is just draining to read. I keep wanting to get it's a good springboard to make fun of, but at the same time, like he is he's very much just a void. Like there's nothing there. Yeah, Rush is exhausting to fucking read. Ugh. No, I ain't getting no super chats. You know what? I think I'm about done for tonight. I wanted to read a little Rush and then fuck it. Um, Again, it's weird. It does just have a draining fucking effect on me. I can't even quite explain it, but like there's something about him that's kind of just disturbing to look at. I guess it's one of those things like Owen where I just can't take it after a while. Like Owen is like upsetting. Like Owen's enraging. Like Owen is really a guy you want to just kick in the face in Minecraft, of course, because he's just such a contemptible shithead. And again, he's abusing his children and animals, which is just enraging. Um, John Steele says at least he's woke to the JQ. He's woke to the coffee question, John. I don't know what you're talking about. You need to get woke on the CQ. Um, but he's not scamming people for money. I mean, yeah, he's not as bad as a lot of the Manosphere guys. Speaking of scamming people for money, I've been listening to a lot of Julie Rohr's podcasts and similar stuff like that. Covering evangelical scams and all. It's amazing how many turn on Christian radio and basically every major ministry on the radio, every one of these, you hear a sermon for a half hour on the radio show. Basically every one of these guys is just cooking the books and scamming people. They like to do something called book buying. So this is nice. So let's say you go to Turning Point. That's a ministry. It's run by a guy named David Jeremiah. He's a pretty popular fucking preacher. And they say, well, if you send a $30 donation to Turning Point, you'll get Dr. Jeremiah's $15 book on whatever. I don't know. And apparently they like to use ministry funds to go and buy those books from bookstores at full retail, and which inflates.
Have you heard of Jesus?
It inflates the numbers, the sales numbers, and then sell them to people. You're giving a gift and getting a book. That's called buying something. Sell them to people through the radio show at a huge markup. No, not Turning Point USA. Not that. The ministry is called Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah. It is different than Turning Point USA. But you know what? Now that you mention it, Turning Point USA pulls a lot of the same bullshit. A lot of the right-wing fucking book market is nothing but a bunch of money laundering bullshit. I mean, think about it. Think of how many times you go into the fucking bookstore and all the hardcovers are then marked down like 30, 40, 50% after a couple of months. And it's all the same thing farted out. I always use the template, but it's like some hoe on Fox News, she puts out a book called like Guns Good, Liberals Bad or something like that. And like the cover will be her like with her arms crossed, like leaning against the title in her stupid fucking pantsuit. Like, and there's just a million of those come out a fucking year. Who could possibly have the time to read them all? But it becomes something where Turning Point USA or Candace Owens Group or something gives those books out when you give a donation. It just becomes a fucking money laundering scheme. Yeah, it's probably the same thing on the left. I just don't read any fucking leftist books, so I'm not even familiar with a lot of how that works. But it's probably the same thing. I'm sure Chunk Yu-Gi-Oh and the Young Turds have fucking pulled similar stunts. I mean, some political books do sell, but not often. So the ones that do sell usually will sell very well, but they're usually ones that have some sort of interesting hook. Either the host is very popular, or it's something that's not just basic bitch writer left wing stuff. But like, who needs random Fox News skirt number 87 to give her fucking hot take on fucking prayer in public schools? Who the fuck needs a book like that? Like, whoever fucking needs a book like that? And then, by the way, politicians that write books, those sell even worse than the media figures. And yet, every politician puts out a book. Now, a lot of times they can pull the same stunt where, I'm sure in a couple years, AOC is going to fart out a fucking book. It might be a coloring book. Who knows? But she'll fart out a fucking book, or one of her staff members will write it, and she'll put her name on it. And then when you donate $30 to AOC's fucking campaign, then you get her $15 book. And then a lot of times, like with Cuomo, I think it was Cuomo, they give you a big old foreword for it, which means that's where, see, a lot of times authors are paid as the book sells. You get a chunk of the books. That seems the reasonable way to pay an author. But sometimes they get forewords. Now, that makes sense if it's an author that's going to sell books like Candy Coated AIDS Cure. Like, yeah, if you're a publisher, you're going to give fucking Stephen King a foreword. Or, oh God, what was the fat fucking boomer that wrote all the military shit? Tom Clancy. I was blanking on his name. You give Tom Clancy a foreword because that shit's going to sell. You know what I mean? But there's no reason to give fucking Cuomo a foreword for his fucking book. Unless, of course, it's a bribe. Unless, of course, it's a bribe disguised as a fucking forward. A lot of these book, like Hillary Clinton and fucking Michelle Obama and George W. Bush, nobody wanted to fucking read their books, okay? And they all got paid millions and millions of dollars to write books. Why is that, huh? It's because it's bribes. The, most of the publishing industry right now is a goddamn scam. I mean, I point to stuff like, Terror House, and not just because, one day in the very near future, I hope to have a book published there myself. Although you won't know because it'll be under a pen name. Though honestly, if you read it and you're familiar with this show, you'll probably know it's fucking me. But point is though, like, that's the only place that actual books that actual people are buying because they actually want to read them. Those indie publishers are the only place that those the actual fucking literature is happening. Okay, Tom Clancy, the fake war nerd. Exactly, Chad. Tom Clancy is like the quintessential W era Republican. He really is. Just some fat fucking boomer who absolutely like never met a fucking war he didn't like, never served a day in his fucking life. You know. But yeah, the entire fucking publishing industry is a goddamn joke. The all these parachurch ministries you hear on the fucking radio, they pull that shit. All these fucking um, political groups pull that fucking shit. The dog is making a lot of noise behind me. So since to be fair, Rainbow Six was a good game. Yeah, but do you think Tom Clancy had anything to do with those fucking games that had his name on it? Like, Tom Clancy's as boomer as they fucking come, okay? Do you think that man ever played a video game that wasn't like fucking Space Invaders in a bar in the 70s when he was half drunk? Like, come on. And Tom Clancy's dad is still publishing books, is he? I didn't even know he's dead, by the way. He says, I love all the Tom Clancy books where neocons took out all those insidious bad guys that were the greatest heroes of life and liberty. Ah. God, remember that like stream of just hardcore neocon propaganda in the 2000s? Like everyone talks about the fucking left-wing propaganda, in everything is fucking gay and trans and mixed race couples and all over fucking TV. But remember in the 2000s there was this weird strand of, I mean, I guess you could call it right-wing, but just hardcore neocon propaganda. Like Fox had a whole fucking TV show that was all about how cool and necessary torturing people is. I'm not making that up. Like it's almost hard to like go back and think about that, but like you remember 24? Like it had an interesting premise. Each season, 24 episodes, an hour each. Each season is a day. That's an interesting way to structure a show. But the entire show was all about like the fucking hero in it. Like every season is about how he has to how he has to hook a car battery up to some guy's nuts to get him to tell him where the bomb is, so that he's got to stop the terrorists using enhanced interrogation. And you think, oh, that was just a dumb TV show. I'm not making this up. You can go back if you can find it. Who knows? It's sort of early days of YouTube, but so it probably isn't all that preserved. But like, go back to like the '08 presidential cycle and shit. Go back even to '06 and all. You had all these Republicans talking. Jack Bauer was the character's name. All these Republicans like, we need more Jack Bauers out there. Every time the topic of like torture would come up, you'd hear Republicans, serious fucking politicians, okay, senators, people that were running for president and had a shot at the nomination, a real shot, not joke candidates, but like the major fucking frontrunners going, we need a Jack Bauer to hook a car battery up to someone's nuts. Fuck due process. I mean, you talk about fucking propaganda. Hollywood is a whore. Understand that. Hollywood is a whore. These corporations are whores. Okay? Like, you've probably all seen the meme of, like, Coca-Cola with its pride shit all over the fucking bottle, and then contrast that to, like, here's a bottle of Coca-Cola from the fucking 30s being sold in Germany. It's fucking covered in Nazi shit. Like, at the end of the day, these corporations are whores, okay? And they're going to suck the dick of whoever's got the money and the power. So, yeah, I mean, I specifically remember all that shit. The whole country was fucking insane after 9/11. Like, yeah, torture's awesome. Torture's fucking cool, bro. Totally necessary. It's totally necessary to give the government all these powers. And now that the left is just horribly in charge, all these right wingers are like, why does the government have all these? Why do corporations get to do all this? Why did my bank get to shut down my account because they accused me of doing extremist activities? And then that same person 15 years earlier was like, the Patriot Act is a great idea. And if you don't like it, you hate America. Oh, oh Lordy. You know what? I'm going to wrap this up because I may have had a little caffeine. And I'm at just that amount of caffeine where I'm actually oddly sleepy. So I'm going to wrap this up with a little observation I noted. Obviously, I'm a comic book geek. I know. A lot of you hadn't heard. But comics the past 10 years have been pretty fucking rough. The 2010s into this decade have not been kind to comics, as they haven't to the entire fucking entertainment industry, I might add. But the one bright spot in comics these past few years have been all the plethora of goofy fucking crossovers. Some says no, keep going, drink more. No, you throw more shekels, maybe we'll keep going. But all the goofy crossovers. I mean, there's been like fucking Archie meets fucking Harley Quinn and Ivy, and then fucking like Terminator Transformers, and fucking Ghostbusters Ninja Turtles, and Sonic Mega Man, and fucking just out the ass with these things. Green Lantern meets Star Trek. You fucking name it, alright? Fucking 4 fucking Ninja Turtle Batman crossovers and an animated movie out of it. Lots of those things, right? But Marvel doesn't get to play that game anymore. Ever since Disney bought Marvel, there have not been any fucking intercompany crossovers involving Marvel. So that means there's no more Avengers meets JLA. There's no more fucking Wolverine Witchblade or Spider-Man Red Sonja. None of that cool shit anymore. And it's weird because that's been really the one bright spot of the past decade. Because those crossovers are usually fun. They had a goofy and odd. Some of them, it's like we acknowledge that they're 2 different universes and there's some interdimensional shenanigans. Some of them, it's like this just one and done tale of what if these things existed in the same universe. Whatever. But they're fun because generally writers are just going to put their best foot forward on both franchises, and you don't get a lot of woke gay bullshit and those kind of things. If you pick up a fucking crossover of He-Man versus Thundercats, it's not going to be about fucking trans politics. It's just going to be cool He-Man and Thundercats fucking shenanigans. Ever since Disney bought Marvel. And somebody said blame Joe Quesada. No, you really can't. Now, Joe Quesada was very anti-crossover, don't get me wrong. And he did a lot of fucking damage. He also fucking completely destroyed Spider-Man as a franchise. But JLA Avengers still happened under his watch. Fucking, I think there were a bunch of Top Cow crossovers under his watch. I remember Spider-Man Red Sonja, when that was a Dynamite property, still happened under his watch. No, it's a Disney thing that just put the full-on fucking kibosh on that shit. And it's kind of sad. It kind of bums me out a little. I was sort of sorting a bunch of comics I got. Like, I got like 3 boxes I'm about to sell to a buddy who does cons. And I was kind of just trying to get them in order, see what's in there so I could tell them and that kind of shit. And it's, it's mostly crossovers. It's like fucking Terminator, Transformers, and fucking... A lot of Transformers ones recently. Transformers Back to the Future. Transformers Ghostbusters. That kind of shit. But yeah, a lot of it's stuff like that. I'm like, wow, man. A lot of these crossovers lately. Oh, I will give one recommendation if y'all like Star Trek. Some of you do. I know some of you are like, oh, whatever, fine. But I know Star Trek, obviously, the shows now are fucking garbage. But the comics at IDW are pretty good. And they just put out a big-ass collection of all the Mirror Universe TNG stuff they did. This is like 3 different miniseries and one shot. Like the first miniseries is like showing you like what the Mirror Universe TNG crew is like, setting that up. And then there's a miniseries after that where there's a conflict between the 2 universes. And then the third in this is a story of like the Mirror Universe Barkley doesn't like what a dork his counterpart is, so he decides to take his place for a while. It's good shit, man. They just put out a big collection of all 3. So yeah, look up like Star Trek Next Generation Mirror Universe collection. Great shit, man. So he says apparently there's a Transformers Jurassic Park crossover. Well, like a comic coming out? That sounds cool. So he says the Transformers crossovers are better than the main series, which is about gay robots. Yeah, I heard that. I even picked up the Transformers My Little Pony crossover. I was like, fuck it, man. That sounds goofy and retarded. I don't know fuck all about My Little Pony. The full extent of my knowledge of My Little Pony comes from like memes and making fun of bronies. Like, I could only actually name like 2 of them. Like, I knew like the pink one was named Pinkie Pie, and the flying one was named Twilight. That's all I knew. But I was still like, it was so goofy and dumb. It was just endearing. Like, fuck it, whatever. I mean, some of them are like Transformers Terminator. Like, as soon as I heard that one was coming out, I'm like, IDW's like, hey, you want to watch the Transformers fight a Terminator? And I'm like, well, I didn't really before you said anything. But now that you said it, that's all I want. And it's literally like this alternate universe take where, like the Transformers, after they arrive on Earth, only the Decepticons wake up and they just fucking wreck humanity's shit. So humanity creates Skynet. And Skynet sends Terminators back in time to kill the Transformers before they wake up. But Skynet didn't know there were good Transformers. Fucking good shit, man. This is a lot of fun. So he says, right now it's just a toy thing. But the Ghostbusters and Back to the Future got some media, so maybe. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the Ghostbusters Transformers crossover is actually pretty good. It's actually in continuity with the IDW Ghostbusters comic, which I can't recommend. IDW, never mind crossovers. IDW has been doing some great shit with Trek and with Ghostbusters. Now, obviously, like if you pick up like IDW's fucking Star Trek Discovery comic, which I'm sure they have, or whatever, obviously that's not going to be any good because what could they do with it? But like, they put out some Voyager shit recently that was great. They put out, like I said, the TNG Mirror stuff was great. They did a big fan service series called Star Trek The Q Conflict, which was really great. They did some great shit with Star Trek. And like I said, I can't sing the praises of the IDW Ghostbusters enough. So, I mean, there's good comics to read. Oh, another great comic. There's a comic called Wrong Earth. Pick up the trade paperback of Wrong Earth. It's the story of on Earth Alpha, there's Dragonfly Man, and on Earth Omega, there's just Dragonfly. And it's basic, and they switch universes, these 2 counterparts. And it's basically the story of what if, like, the Adam West Batman and the Frank Miller Batman swapped universes. And then the second volume is, instead of being called Wrong Earth, it's called Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man. And it's like a prequel, but both are great. Those are definitely worth checking out. There's good comics worth checking out, man. There really is. And Invincible's great. If you love the cartoon, check out Invincible. Not only that, there's some other good superhero, indie image superhero stuff like Godland, Bomb Queen, Empower, that kind of shit. Check that out, man. There's good stuff out there. Like, I know Marvel and DC are kind of in the shitter right now. Not a lot of good shit at either one of those companies, but there's good stuff out there. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I ain't getting no super chats, and I have just enough. Although I did get $1 from John Steele, I appreciate it. And I have just enough Captain in me that I'm kind of tired, kind of sleepy. And I got some shit to do tomorrow. So I'm gonna sign off, guys. I hope you all enjoy the show. If you do enjoy the content and you're not listening live, you can send a donation to streamlabs.com/thebedglov. I will see it when I am live and go ahead and read it. And then paypal.me/thebedglov. And I don't know, I guess I'll throw down the Amazon wish list if I can remember.